I hope that all of you saw me moving all those lights, right? Left and right, up and down. So can you guys guess and tell me what I was exactly trying to do? Any ideas? Yeah, almost. Another thing. Once again, take the picture. I'll just check out the picture. Actually, I forgot to switch on the TEDx, so it won't come up in the picture. This is not the picture. Exactly. Definitely not the picture. I wish it was. So, can you figure out what this is actually? Actually, if you're still confused, it is a tree. Almost, I think it almost came out as a tree. To tell the truth, I kind of practiced around for 3 nights actually to get this perfection around. So, yeah, I actually have. And this thing over here is, I think this is PhD Tech. This, I think it's overlapped and messed up. So, the PowerPoint. So one of the beauty of light painting is that only the light painter alone knows what he does. So through your naked eye, unless I finish my picture and show it to you guys, you won't understand what I'm trying to do. So it's one of the beauty of light painting. And so before I talk about more about my story, how the experience about me going into light painting, I just want to give a little define what light painting is to you guys. So the word light painting itself, you can understand that it's light and painting. So it's basically a painting with light, and it's much similar to normal painting. So if you take a normal painting, I think everyone needs 3 things to do a normal painting, right? Can you guys tell me what a canvas, a brush, and a color, right? So the same thing applies to normal light painting. Only thing is that you'll feel like you'll be blindfolded. So in light painting, my brush is whatever the light source I use, that's my brush, and the color is the different colors I use, and the whole world is my canvas. So in case I take my camera and frame this whole hall, this is my canvas. And in case I frame this stage, this is my canvas. So the whole world can be my canvas, and you can change any place into a beautiful piece of art through light painting. For instance, if you see this normal picture, this is kind of a normal tunnel under a highway bridge. And if you take a normal picture through, like, put a flash and take a normal picture, this is how it looks. So if you imply a normal light painting technique, this is how it turns out. And this is another one. So to light painting, there's a lot of visualization goes on. So you have to visualize everything before you're going to execute the thing. And you need a lot of patience and practice while you do a light painting. The thing is that if I come up with a concept, and if I want to execute that concept, it doesn't. I won't succeed in one attempt alone. I have to try. I have to go for another almost like 5 to 6 attempts. So sometimes my light painting comes around like 2 seconds or 10 minutes. The maximum I've done a light painting is 8 minutes. So for that 8 minute alone, I have to plan for like 3 days and 4 days. Sometimes I have to take 3 hours and 4 hours. So patience plays a big role in this light painting thing. And to practice alone, I can bring new styles. I can bring new styles into light painting. So the more I started to learn about light painting, the light painting itself taught me a lot. That two things that it taught was patience and practice. So after learning, experimenting with light painting a lot, uh, I learned that through patience and practice, you can achieve a lot. You can do the impossible through patience and practice. And coming to, and this light painting is not something that it is a new topic to be talked about. It's a century-old art. Uh, so if you take this, this is the first light painter who explored light painting. His name is Man Ray. It was done around 1935. This is one of his light painting. He called it as space writing. And this person, I know, can you guys recognize this person? Yes. So this is none other than Picasso, a person with lot of talents, and he himself was a light painting artist also. This is another one of his light painting. So I don't know what he was trying to do. I think it was a face or something. So why I talk about the history of light painting is that people think when they see light painting, they think it was done with Photoshop or something and things like that. So it's not something you sit in a computer and do. You need all physical form, all physical movements to do a light painting, proper light painting. And when I come to my story of light painting, my exploration towards light painting started from with this image. This picture made me who I am today. So it might look like a normal picture. Uh, this picture is like a normal bike picture, but this was taken back around like 6 years, 7 years back when I was doing my final year BCom. One of my friends took me to this bike race. It was a super bike race, and I had a normal point and shoot camera. I used to take a lot of pictures. Apart from this picture, I used to take a lot of pictures, but this picture alone made me curious a lot because all this motion created in this picture can't be taken just by clicking a picture. You have to go along with the subject to get all this motion in this picture. So I didn't know that all those things that time. So I started to explore more about it. I started to search more about it through internet. So internet is kind of a guru for me. Like it teached me a lot about light painting. So coincidentally, when I was learning about this picture, I started to learn about light painting. So the more I started to experiment about light painting, I wanted to try and experiment light painting also. So I made a decision to get my first DSLR. So I asked my parents about investing in my first DSLR. And obviously they said no. And the one good thing about my dad is he used to give me a lot of pocket money. So I saved around 1.5 years all the pocket money I could get and bought my first DSLR. And I was so excited and I even tried my first. This was my first light painting with my first DSLR. So it was nothing much, just a star. Like normal people anyone can do this star. Because I didn't have much knowledge about light painting that day. I didn't have much knowledge about any light source and what camera settings you have to put. I didn't have even a tripod like this to invest on. I just bought my camera, I kept it in my bookshelf and started doing this. And this is where all my experiments started. And in order to do a much better light painting, you have to know all the basics about a photography thing. So the light painting cannot be done in an automatic mode like a DSLR. If you put in an automatic mode, everything it can't take. So if you only in your manual mode, you have to control all the settings of the camera in order to do a proper light painting. So I started to join a 3 months course, a basic light painting photography aspect course to learn more about the aperture, shutter, the composition, everything. And I joined Mr. Loganathan, a wonderful wildlife photographer. Through him, he introduced me to Mr. Murugaraj Jeshwin, that's the person. He's a photojournalist of Dinamala, and he offered me a chance to publish my work in the Dinamala. And being an artist, it was a big recognition for me. So I said yes, and I met him on one fine day, and I explained all those aspects of light painting, photography, and I even did a light painting using him as a model. So I didn't have much tools all those days, so it's the one single tool I all had. So this was the picture. And after a few months, my article got published, and it was a surprise for me. But I didn't know that when the date, what date it was going to published. I started to receive calls from early morning, 6 to 7. Like people started calling me and complimenting and appreciating my work, everything like that. Apart from all that call, I remember one particular call. It was a call from a person that he called me and said that he was an illiterate, and once he read my article, once he read my article, and he told that he's so proud that I was one of the only Indian to be among the 72 artists around the world to be exhibited in first international light painting exhibition. So he even gave his phone to his 6-year-old daughter, and even she appreciated me everything, and that was the best compliment I had ever got till today. So this was the article published in the Namala. And I'd like to show you the first two images that I exhibited in the first international exhibit, IIT Mumbai Tech Fest. This is one of the image. So all these are done with crackers, normal Diwali crackers. So all this exploration, like when I started to experiment a lot about light painting and I started to learn more about light painting, I saw that there was less exposure for light painting. Like many people doesn't know about light painting in India, particularly in India. Even around the world, it's still a rare form of art. And I started to do workshop, especially for students in colleges. And the normal question, like the basic question you normally get from this college student is that how do you create all those light painting tools? How do you create all those LEDs and LEDs, everything? So being a BCom graduate myself, I didn't have much knowledge about electronics. But in order for me to create, in order to meet for grow and create more light paintings, I have to learn more about electronics. So the light painting is not only about learning about photography, but it's all about learning about more about electronics and traveling, and even I have to draw frequently in order to keep my the movement of my hand while doing light painting. So all those experimentation and experiences led me to meet Satvik Sharma, one of the mastermind behind the Guinness World Record we did, along with the friends Ankur, Sanchit, Shobit, and Arun. So we broke this record by creating the first record was done by people from USA, and it was around like all the small dot. I think you can see only all those small dots, right? I'll show the next picture. So this is exactly like a ball shape. We call it as orb in light painting term. And in US, they made around 200 orbs in a single picture and made the record for Guinness record. And we made around 900 orbs in a single picture to break the record. Actually, we planned for 1,500. After doing this 900, we went for further for 1,500. But since even for it took around 30 minutes for the single picture. So we did a lot of test shots, and it was like pretty cold that night, and the batteries almost die out, and like all our cameras switched off in the middle of the 1,500 attempt. So we couldn't provide much evidence for the 1,500. So we went for the 900, and it was a great experience. Like after getting actually we waited for 6 months to get the result alone for the Guinness record. They asked us for 200 pounds in order to make the result, in order to get the result. They said they will give me in 1 week if you gave them 200 pounds. But actually we waited along, and the wait was worth it. And this is one of the tools we use to do all the orbs. So this has been my journey being a light painting artist. And I like to conclude by doing another light painting. Everybody have their own type of wings. The only thing is we have to spread them.